Kim, please. Yeah. You're up with it. So, immediate care whakaronga. Okay, as always, onwards and upwards. Kia ora, everyone. Thank you to welcome staff, welcome councillors. I had them here that I had apologies. Does anyone have a Councillor Martin?
With the lateness, he hopes to be able to do it via Zoom.
Rightio. So I should say it because some actually think that I answer this one. So please, if you're putting through apologies, put them through to either Anna or Julie, because especially on a council morning, it's not a dog show that I'm getting back to my messages. Even though some people text me at 7 o'clock, I still don't get back to the message, but we do have to cover up on one. Councillor McCroskey had given me an apology at 7 o'clock in the morning of the last council meeting. I never read it. I don't know what you do with a retrospective apology, but I'll move it. Dean, you can second your own apology. All those in favour? Aye. Those against? Thanks, team. Declarations of interest. Any urgent or late items? No public forum. And yet before, because it has been said that Leanne Michelle could be coming up and she hasn't, I've got to, before we start this, fess up. Some months ago, I was at Budget Advice / Food Bank, seeing the precarious nature of things down there. And I said to Leanne, you've got to get in and do an LTP. Remember, you might remember Leanne came up nervous as anything and did a presentation. In recent times, I said to her, why didn't you put an LTP submission in? She said, I did. So it's my fault for the next item, my apologies, but Leanne thought on the day when she came nervously and did that preparation that she was doing an LTP application. She wasn't. It didn't go through the correct process. And I feel it's, I've got to explain that to you before we go into the item because that was my fault. I encouraged her to come and present. I knew the system and didn't pick it up. She didn't know the system and couldn't pick it up. So my apologies, team. If we can, please, if we go over to an agenda, sorry, Councillor Park.
I just want to give an apology. Just having my cataracts done, I've got to put these things on, so it's not going to be a good look, but it's the only way I can stay in the room with the bright lights, so I'm just going to put them on.
The bright lights include that. You look rather dapper.
Incognito, I might have something to say today.
Righto, so team, we're going over to agenda item number 1. I can't see Lily here, so has anyone else got anything to add before we head into take the report? Take the report. Councillor Volwell.
Sorry, I do know that Leanne Michelle has been unwell. She was supposed to be at last night.
Right, so thank you for that, Councillor Volwell, and I think if we could please take the overall, my incompetence, shall we say, didn't pick up on it, and now Bruce following up that Leanne hasn't been well. If we don't have any, we'll just take it as read, discussion team. Councillor Finch, followed by Baron.
This is a really, really worthy service and they do amazing things in the community, and unfortunately it was a mistake that it's been missed, and they really work together and do such amazing things that I think it is a worthy request to be able to support. And as we can see, it's funded from the investment surplus now, so it's not going to affect our rates this year. So that is something really good. So when we go to moving it, I'd like to move both recommendations.
Councillor Barron, followed by Graham.
Thank you. When they came and gave that presentation, someone might better clarify, was that when they bought this up and used their stock as the financial amount? Did someone correct them and say, you haven't done this right? Was this person? They used, can anyone remember that?
Leanne came and presented, and it was about a month before the flow of the long-term plan, but in all honesty, I can't remember that.
She was nervous, and someone said, isn't that money, Simon, you might remember this. Can you remember saying to that lady that that money is not actually money, it's just stock you've got on hand, or is that lady?
I'd say through process of elimination, it would have to be, because no one else has come with that sort of presentation.
Did she ask for 25,000 at that time?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think that what's been given to us presently is quite different. It's a lot more detailed than what was presented on the day. These budgets have been tidied right up. I did question the budgets at the time, but these a lot tidier.
Councillor Graham.
Through you, is this the first time that they've actually come for money through the long-term plan?
I believe
So it's not an excuse. Like if they'd done it before, it wouldn't be an excuse for that.
Councillor Ludeman, followed by Kennedy.
I think it was a genuine mistake that they actually believed when they presented late last year that was their submission. I see it as a real need. I've kind of worked a wee bit with budget advice, and they are struggling a bit for financial support, and it's just so needed, unfortunately, at the moment in the community. So it is a one-off, because they will have to come back next year if they want to any further funding. I would support it for this financial year.
Councillor Kennedy.
I'm sorry, I'm going to go the other way. I'm not supporting this. I think if we have, I know we have a lot of people out there struggling. We also have a lot of other avenues where they can go for food grants and the rest of it in our different areas. It doesn't include West Otago. If we want to help, we've got a lot of struggling ratepayers out there, and if we want to help them, then the money stays in our investment pot to go across all rates rather than just a few. There are other avenues where people can get the subsidies and that they need and the help they need. They've just got to be turned into the right direction. So I'll be voting against it.
Councillor Herbert, followed by myself.
Thank you, Worship. Look, I feel a little bit the same. I kind of get the feeling it's the thin end of the wedge sometimes with these things, and it might start off as 25, but it ends up being quite substantial in a year or two's time. Likewise, it doesn't support the whole district. And they had an opening balance of 109,000, and they had a closing balance of 84. The big reason for the bit of a shift in that was they had a one-off purchase of fridges and freezers. Well, it's there. It says they had a opening balance of 109,000. They had a closing balance of 84,000. So I don't think that they're in need of our money, to be fair.
So I suppose I've had a wee bit more to do with them. If I go right back to the start, Salvation Army always had the contract, and they've got the wider national contract. They've got the shop included. They had the food bank included, and they withdrew the food bank. And that left us in a real scramble. And when we had an emergency meeting of the social service agencies that could possibly pick up the case, we had Anglican Family Care and Budget Advice. That was it. And it was sort of like, which one of us is going to do it? Because it's just got to keep going. And the Budget Advice thankfully picked up. They didn't want it. Neither of them did, because it's a dangerous old place to be. But they want, someone's got to do it, and out the generosity of their hearts, they went into the breach. Since then, we sort of generated that enthusiasm of the initial, hey, this is something new and desperate and we've got to do it. So, and I wouldn't say specifically this is it, but you'd see in the donations that there was the foundation, there was different ones that were given. That's not guaranteed that it's always going to carry on. But one that I know that will not carry on was Pauline Ellis, who's their treasurer, came with me to see the regional commissioner for MSD. And we did a down on the knees plea because the cash flow was gone and they got a one-off payment. My apologies, it isn't there. It wasn't a big, it might have been 20,000. So what I'm trying to say is that they got an initial flush of money that won't be coming through this year or any other year. And I know this, we've got to look at it in two parts. Is this council's core? Quite literally, government outbounded it. They made it quite clear, the government, the Salvation Army, the structures. It's us, it's nothing. So then, as a council, are we prepared to turn our back on the most vulnerable? And there's a double-edged sword here, because in the plea to get budget advice to pick up food bank, we've got two that have now put themselves in this situation, budget advice, food bank. Certainly the food bank's been sustained by the budget advice in the time that it's been going. They do a great job, and I know it's a tight year, but out of that net surplus, there isn't an impact on the ratepayers. There is the ability to step in. And I know that in recent times we've also given to the, although that wasn't COVID times, admittedly, to the West Otago. Remember, it was going to go to the group and then it went to individuals. And then there was the Lawrence with the guy, husband and wife, that's the ministers over there. So council has in the past given money to food banks in their time of need. And actually, if it was to be, this ain't going away. The structure isn't there. So for me, it's just the start of a process. I'm not going to lie to you. I think they'll be back next year. They'll have to be in an even more desperate situation. So I'll go, I saw some hands. Councillor Finch, Councillor Catherwood, Councillor Graham.
There's also funds administered by the service and their bank balances so that they administer them on behalf of the clients, and that's under the services management. And that is on page 23, and as the 30th of June 2023, that was 23,581. So that's in there as well. That's page 23. So all the money isn't completely theirs.
Can I just answer that then? Page 31, closing balance $84,337.
Yeah, but some of them are administered by them.
Councillor Catherwood, now where the heck was I going?
Yeah.
Councillor Catherwood, Graham, and Payne was it, might have been. Yeah, sorry, Councillor Catherwood, Graham.
So for myself, had this come up in those LTP decisions, I've made my decision on the social side of council that I'll vote against this. So we have a consistency voting against this. They do a wonderful job. Good on them. Well done. I don't see this as for the Crescent District ratepayer to pick up this tab, because it would be, it's obviously not benefiting the whole district as well. So to me, it's just a social issue. I don't think they're going to, I think they'll continue doing a fantastic job, irrespective of whatever the decision is, but today I won't be supporting this grant.
Councillor Graham, Payne, then I'll look for first time callers and I'll go back for a recommendation.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Look, our financial position over the next 10 years has been determined by compliance with the government, and now they expect us to pick up pieces that they should be looking after as well. So I won't be supporting it, I'm sorry.
Councillor Payne.
Thank you, Your Worship. Look, I took some time out yesterday to go and see these people, and it was quite a good value going down there, to be quite honest. I read this report, I thought straight away the biggest problem for me as governance role was the miscommunication part, which we've all just had to explain to us. And I guess we're going to forgive you, Your Worship. and that is a problem, and we need to be on top of that next time. However, look, yesterday they gave out 5 food baskets before I got there at 2 o'clock. There was another couple they expected to get after lunch. I asked many questions down there, many of the questions that you guys probably want to know, because I didn't hold back really, and I didn't get to talk to Leanne, sadly, but I got to talk to her daughter that was a bit lean on some of the answers, if you like. But while I was there, I did see the need. You have a look at some of the people, and look, I got the stories about the down and out and the drugs and all that, but that's not the whole story, because there are needy people that are going in there to get these food baskets. With the West Otago question, John, I thought about this last night, I thought, why can't we, if you've got people over there, why can't we send food baskets over with you guys once a month or something for them, you know? I mean, that's an answer. I mean, they don't mean to exclude you. It's the travel, it's the distance, it's the help. So there was other things in here that worried me, and like I said, I've asked me a question, but after seeing it helped me a little bit, I think I will be supporting.
Thank you, Councillor Payne. Can we? Sorry, got a mouthful of ice. Please have it noted that Councillor Martin's come in on Zoom. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Your Worship.
So we're just in discussions around the Clutha Budget Advisory. My apologies, seeing you weren't here from the start of just this one. You won't be able to vote until agenda item number 2. My apologies for that, because you've been there for the whole discussion.
You're right, yeah, understandable.
Am I going back to Councillor Finch? No.
So I don't like spending our ratepayers' money willy-nilly and on things that are social all the time. I don't agree with that, but at the moment in this day and age, there is very limited places where a lot of these people can go to. And this is a very necessary service that we are lucky enough to have in most of our community. I acknowledge the West Otago is being missed out. Hopefully there may be able to be something can be done about that. That would be really good. But things are not getting easier, they're getting harder. And you look at people who can't even buy the basic necessities, and it's not just food and that they do supply. They give them all the advice that goes with it for the money as well, to help people be able to budget that can't budget, and to get ideas of how they can get out of what they've got stuck into. But a lot of it in this day and age now is not just people mismanaging their money, it is the way that the whole of the world has gone, and the huge increases in everything. There's families out there and they have children, and imagine that, not being able to feed your family. It's really, really tough times. So I'll be moving both recommendations.
I notice a lot of hands up. I'll get a seconder and then I'll go to the hands. So can I please have a seconder for the motions, please?
Second.
Councillor Ludeman. So that's to both motions approved. Move Councillor Finch, second Councillor Ludeman, specifically on what's being recommended, the matters open for discussion. No, I'm going to go to Councillor Kennedy and drift. I'll be sorry, I will get to you.
I'm not going to change my mind, guys, and don't worry about West Otago, because we look after our own. We're pretty well covered with our food bank, and we were lucky in some of the other things that we've got. But it still boils down to, this is not a council core service. This is social, okay? And we are getting dragged into the social sides of our communities all the time. It's a shame government didn't give us an extra lot of money to look after our own social services, because I think we'd do probably a better job than what is being done out there for the communities now. I'm still going to go against it. This is going to be an ongoing, it will be on these books forever if it's not dealt with now. It won't be a one-off. And there are other avenues for these things to be dealt with. So I will be still going, no.
Councillor Lehman.
Kind of probably, obviously I support it. This inclusive food bank is basically run by volunteers. With the budget advice stepped in because Salvation Army walked away. If they hadn't stepped in, we wouldn't have a food hub, and I can remember it at the time. And we talk about fridges. Well, I know that the foundation gave 15,000 towards the fridge that they purchased. That's on the side. This is totally run by volunteers. Kiwi Harvest used to come down, I think it was once a week, with a truckload of food. That service stopped. Kiwi Harvest stopped that earlier this year. And while I guess council isn't there for the social needs of their district and everything, we actually, I feel, have to consider these vulnerable people that are out there. And honestly, this group is run by volunteers. I'm not part of the group, but I've had a lot to do with them and behind. I've spoken to them probably a couple of times a month. I'm checking in on how they're getting on. They are desperately in need of our help. This is a one-off grant. It's not a 3-year one. It would be a one-off grant, and they would have to compete next year.
So South followed by Councillor Catherwood. We've got to remember, because the definition of a council's responsibility, while many people say core services, the core services are defined, but it's a mandated responsibility now for councils to consider the 4 well-beings. That is our responsibility, just the same as roads, water and other services. It's been mandated the responsibility of us for the 4 well-beings. But that aside, even if it wasn't there, could I turn my back on the most vulnerable for, I don't know what proportion of the Clutha district this is. Let's say we take out Western Target, it's the rest. Probably it's not, but there'll be a good proportion. It's a couple of dollars each. And they could become dysfunctional and go and try and get $2 off each person. Or we could actually have the social awareness to realise that it is our mandated responsibility. The encumbrance on the ratepayer in the form of rates isn't actually going to happen because it's out of an investment account that, for me, has the latitude that we can give. Because imagine what a god-awful place our district will be if the 1,000-odd food parcels, if the 6 people from yesterday couldn't get food for their kids. How does that ripple out around the district we love and are meant to serve? Because those kids are going to go to school and they'll ripple out. The parents will go to wherever they go and they'll ripple out for the sake of a couple of bucks. I know that we're under pressure. God, we've never been under more pressure. But it's not the time that we drop off the people that are most feeling the vulnerability of the situation at the moment. And I stress once again, mandated to councils to consider the 4 well-beings as part of our responsibility, the same as roads, sewage and everything else. Councillor Catherwood.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation, I would say. 25,000, so I won't be changing the way I'm going to sway, and I'm just pretty much going to go. Councillor Payne took the effort yesterday to go and see the particular operation. For myself, over the last quite a few years, I've been in the particular location. I've visited that area quite often through my business. And I've seen the people that are using that service. And I've always just sort of walked away there scratching my head a few times, going, okay, hang on, I live in a community, we've got a whole bunch of temporary workers on temporary work visas in our community here to service our local meat processing company down the road. And like, look at the people that have been using the service, and I'm like, well, able-bodied, young, cars ticked up, obviously driving around in decent cars. I'm thinking, why aren't you taking up those jobs down the road? That's what I've observed. You know, not everyone, but I've observed that a lot out of that particular operation. So it's just another angle that I've seen on it. Yeah, to me, it still comes down to the principle. It's social. It's not for council.
Did I have someone after Dane but before Councillor Barron? Was this someone? So Councillor Barron.
Thank you. Just to cover off on Councillor Ludeman's statement there, the funding statement that they've put in this here says that they want the money to cover ongoing operational costs, including staff salaries and utilities. So the volunteer part of it and the staff salaries, what's the relationship there?
Well, I guess there's 3 staff, from my understanding, because I'm not on the committee or anything. From my understanding, there's 3 staff there paid part-time. The rest of the committee that kind of is in behind
Are volunteers.
are all volunteers.
Right, but they want this funding for staff salaries.
It's for staff, so the rest of it, I mean, you put in the ones your treasurers, there's the committee in behind this part-time staff.
So are we, is this request to replace some funding that the Salvation Army used to give them? Are we replacing? Like, who paid the salaries last year, the year before?
So
Well,
they've only been going 1 year, Kevin.
Australia.
So Salvation Army used to have it and had the nationwide contract. They kept their shop, they would prove their food bank. And Cloyter was left in a scramble.
And
Who the heck do we do it? Them or Anglican Family Care were the only 2, they did it. And that was that first flush of enthusiasm where different groups threw in a bit of money, but they were one off. Now they're coming back and looking at sustainability long term, and it's fragile. Can I also say, because Councillor Catherwood mentioned prison works, and interestingly, job opportunities. Obviously, for years now, we've had, on average, about 30 young locals that we put into the freezer to go with MSD, 50 young locals into the freezer works. As an aside, this year we got 1, and they got 2. So I do question 3. And we have certainly, like never before, got good young kids stacking up on our books that we can't do.
Still 40 temporaries.
Councillor, you don't know. Oh, Wheeler, sorry.
Thank you, Your Worship. Acknowledging me and remembering my name.
I had a Biden moment.
It was, it's not good to admit.
I'm going to support the motions moved. I think we need to distinguish here. This food bank is, Cloyter Budget Advisory Service has taken over the food bank, and to say that they've got all that money there, that really belongs to the Budget Advisory Services, not the food bank side of things. I don't think they make any money at all out of the food bank. And the staff that are employed there are there primarily for the Budget Advisory Services for a start as well. The fact that it doesn't go to West Otago, that's neither here nor there in my opinion, because if West Otago, if there'd been a similar request coming from West Otago as well, we would have considered that in the same light, I think. And to say that we shouldn't be picking up social services, well, we pick up cultural services in the form of looking after requests for the museums and such like in the district as well. So why we would not support social services when we're quite happy to support cultural services. And quite a large sum of money into groups that are specific to certain areas as well, is beyond me. So I'm quite happy to support this. We were looking at one stage in our LTP of giving additional rebates to ratepayers who were perhaps had community services cards or something like that. We decided not to do that, but I think this here is we've got another organisation that's prepared to pick up and do the due diligence on people who come in and ask for food parcels. And it covers a wider group than just the ratepayers themselves. So for that reason, I'm prepared to support that. It's 1 year. We could relook at that if they want to come back for funding and further in the next annual. We relook at that again. I think they've been watching this. They'll be aware of the reluctance that we have as a council to support that generally. So I'm sure they'll be looking to make sure that they, in future, see what other funds they can get as well. Thank you.
Okay, team, so we've had a good discussion on it. I can see that what I want is, please, when we had the vote, keep your hands up until Julie's said it. Oh, sorry, yeah, you haven't had to say, Councillor McTamaney. So I'll just go through it. When we do get to the vote after listening to Councillor McTamaney, hands held at the start, and until Julie says drop them, keep them high. Councillor McTamaney.
Yeah, I believe that probably this request probably won't be a one-off. Things are going south in the economy. The food bank will be requiring more capital next year. And so if we go down this path, it's going to be back here next year in the annual plan, and we're going to have to work out how we're going to fund it in the future. So today, I'm as per usual, I'm struggling why, if we are to fund it, why we want to use investment capital. Note I say investment capital, when there are other things that it can probably just come out of council debt for the year. The budget advisory service, if you do a quick simple number, would probably question us on why would we use investment capital. $25,000 will cost us $26,000, and that investment capital could earn 10%, whereas we can borrow for 6%. So yeah, that's something that I've been on for a while. But if we were to do it, I can't see why we can't fund it out of debt. Because,
Okay, team.
and we'll have to find a place to rate it next year if it comes back.
So we're going to move on a seconder. If we can, please. So we're voting on both. If we can, please, all those in favour, now raise your hands and say aye.
Aye.
Councillor McTamaney, that was a funny time to scratch your chin. Is that your hand up or down, please? Down, that's down, good. And all those that say nay, please raise hands and say nay. Done. Okay, thank you. Over to agenda item number 2.
Can I ask the question, is that dead and buried?
Not if you want to.
Can I?
I suppose you could come back with another one that says it comes out of debt or some fundamental change.
Can I ask what the vote was? 6-8. Can I move the motion that $25,000 goes to the budget advisory service paid for out of debt or
Raised as a loan.
raised as a loan?
To fund it. So, in keeping with where we were, you also that we received the report. Oh, hold on, we can receive the report. Is it okay if you also move that you received the report? It's just an operational bit to it.
Yes.
So I'm going to move it.
Point of order, wouldn't it be easier to, otherwise, if the the motion is lost, then
Yeah, I took it too easily, councillor Volwela. So what I will do, Simon, I will come straight back to you. I'll move that we receive the report. Councillor Volwela is going to second it. Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against, thank you. Now we will just deal with what we're dealing with, which is councillor McAtamaney has moved a recommendation, 25,000 funded.
Loan funded,
Loan funded.
with the funding source to be confirmed through the annual planning process. For next year. You got to figure out.
Oh, so we get it.
You're going to raise it to pay it now, and you'll figure out how you're going to pay it back.
Right, so I need a second. A seconded, councillor Finn. So specifically on the recommendation that councillor McAtamaney has raised, matter open for discussion. Councillor Herbert.
If that's the case, I would see this similar to Project Bruce, because they're supplying similar services, so we would fund it in a similar way, where it gets targeted right against people that actually benefit from it, which would leave West Target out of it.
Through you, your worship. Unfortunately, you don't have that rating mechanism for anything other than the Bruce ward currently. So it will need a change to our revenue and financing policy to be able to put that in place.
It's doable, though.
Can we do it through an annual plan, Sharon?
If they want it, I'll pay for it.
Through you, your worship, I'm not 100% sure about that. But we do have a community projects rate and our revenue and financing policy. The only one specifically mentioned is Bruce. That's a community projects rate for projects in specific communities.
And just to confirm, your worship, we aren't making a decision on how it's going to be funded now. It's going to be, that's for consideration through that process. So
Things have a habit of drifting along in this place, and all of a sudden you've agreed to it. So I'm just putting it out there that I would agree with it, the motion, if it's going to be funded by the people that benefit from it.
Can I just check, Sharon, because we've got a Belcluta, Stirling, Kaikaika Point area of funding, which pretty much encompasses, for argument's sake, this is where the feedback's from. There's other rating lines that have Belcluta, Stirling, Kaikaika Point. So therefore, could we put it to that?
We don't have anything that's 100% funded from that. Like Parks and Reserves is 50-50.
Yeah.
So the issue is as Sharon said before, the only one where we're going to solely fund something through that area mechanism is the Project Bruce funding through the Bruce ward. So we would have to implement a new one to say this type of funding will solely be funded over that area as a fixed charge. So that's the bit where we need to consider from a rating perspective how we do that legally between now and next year.
No, we've got time to think about it. Councillor Lewis.
I think that would certainly need a bit more discussion because I'm sure Clinton people benefit from the food bank as well. I know for a fact it does not just, and I know Waka people do as well, it does not just benefit Cluta. So that's just a comment, but that's for just further discussion.
Yeah, and I know I've been there when Clinton people have been there as well. Councillor Payne.
Thanks, your worship. What is the figure against rateable unit at that? On $26,000 or $25,000?
Nothing.
What
It's
is
about
it?
11,000, isn't it, Sharon, roughly? If it's funded through like the UAGC or something.
11,068.
Yeah, so about $2.20.
$2.20.
Did I see another hand up?
Need a vote.
Righto. So everyone knows what we're voting on? Same again, you raise them until the boss says you drop them. You ready? So specifically, we're voting on Councillor McAtamaney moved, Councillor Finn seconded. All those in favour, please raise your hands and say aye.
Aye.
I was hoping that it was going to be easy.
Done. Are those against, please raise your hands and say no.
No.
7.
Time to through the bottom lip.
Yeah.
That's obvious.
I'll use my casting vote. I've now put myself in a position where I've used it before. I can't say that I don't use my casting vote, but would you guys stop pushing me into this? Because I have nowhere for it to go after we've already done the rummage around. So my casting vote, hold on. Status quo. There's no status quo.
You've already voted.
Yeah, no, so, yeah, but you, for the casting vote, you meant to go with the status quo. There is no status quo as such. So I'm still going to do the casting vote that I support the motion. I don't like that. To those that have been on the other side of that, I apologise because I do not like a casting vote for that. It's a good way to divide a council, but it's the only way we can move on. We now go to agenda item number 2, Lawrence Tuapeka Community Plan. Welcome, Mike. Bit of light refreshment. Floor's yours.
Thanks, Your Worship. So this item relates to an update of the Lawrence Tuapeka Community Plan. Just a little bit of background. This was the 5th of we have 10 community plans in place now. This was the 5th one to be developed back in 2020. And if you remember 2020, we had a few interruptions at that point in time. So we actually were shut down halfway through that consultation program, which it made it a bit more challenging. But nevertheless, the plan was adopted back then. There has been good progress made in some areas within that plan. I guess some of the key people who were involved initially have moved on. And we have been, I guess, engaging with the Lawrence Tuapeka Community Board pretty heavily over the last few years. They've asked for some changes to be made. So hence the need to update this plan. In particular, it's the first one that we've considered updating. So that's just a little bit of background. Happy to take any other questions on that. The other item that's noted in here is around consultation. I guess there's 2 options here. One is to just adopt the update, and that's what we're asking you. There's an option for you. Or the second option is that you adopt it as a draft, and we have a limited consultation on the updated plan. So hopefully that makes all sense, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you for that, Mike. Team questions. So remember, questions, discussion, vote. Questions for Mike, please. Pretty straightforward for us. We've been through the process, and Lawrence is always a proactive community, so I look forward to the opportunity to re-engage. Councillor Martin, is there anything you wish to add?
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, no, just to reinforce what Mike's saying, the good work he's been doing with the community board, and that possibly didn't need to come to the table, but for transparency purposes, there was just a couple of wee jiggles in there about the Gabriel's Gully entrance and so forth. But yeah, it's been done with full consultation with the community board. So, and Mike's done a great job. So thanks, Mike, for your help.
Through you, Your Worship, did the community board have a preference on going back for consultation, or was it more of an update so the community knows where they've got to on a range of these projects?
Yeah, through you, Your Worship. Yeah, so their direction is really just to update it. They didn't really request that it's consulted on, but the reason why I've got that in there is when we actually look at your consultation and engagement strategy, it's a little bit grey, a bit of a grey area, I guess, whether we should consult on it or not. It's not really clear, so that's why I've given you the option there.
So, Tim, if there's not a lot of questions, I'm going to go to discussion, but also just so that my first salvo would be that we take all recommendations as one. There is an or in there. Yeah, but that's what I meant, there's an or. But what recommendations we can take, because I'm not saying it's a well laid out process that we're done. Mike's given a comprehensive list of what we're doing.
Happy to move recommendations.
What I might do, and I'll take your second, is I'm just looking, and the local councillor's eyes are rolling around on his head off screen. Are you wanting to move a job?
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to move it.
So sorry, Councillor Catherwood, because I was looking there and knew where he was coming from, but just the awkwardness of Zoom. So move Councillor Martin, seconded Councillor Catherwood. Yep. Any further discussion before we put the vote?
Sorry, can we just confirm which of these?
Just one.
Just one.
Yep, just one. Has Jock got his agenda with him?
I was actually taking the lot with the or, and that's it.
There's
Yeah, it's
someone
similar.
wants to be
So,
there.
sorry, I will go to that we received the report. I'll do that, John, then I'll come back if I can.
So
We're going to tidy this up. So all we're doing at the moment is moving that we received the report. Move Councillor Martin, second Councillor Catherwood. All those in favour?
I,
Thank you. Now we move on to specifically the OR. So, and I will take number 4 as well. So it's a 2 or a 3, and then a 4. What were your thoughts, John?
Well, I don't have my papers in front of me, but I'm more than happy to move that we adopt it. So,
Which is recommendation 2.
Recommendation 2.
Righto. And is that where you're heading, Dave?
yeah, so
Right.
he needs a hand because he obviously hasn't got his.
Yeah, so
report.
John, Councillor Martin's moved number 2, that we adopt the updated plan. Seconded by Councillor Catherwood. Any discussion? Councillor Von Wheeler.
I'm happy with that too. I don't think we need the consultation process. We're not really changing any of the major project groupings at all. Budgets aren't really being changed. There's a bit of shuffling of funding around. So we're not, to my mind, it doesn't meet the triggers the significance criteria that we require, even limited consultation, given that the community board would appear to be well involved with this.
Councillor Herman.
Just concur with what's just been said. We've got a great community board there, and I'm sure they've got their finger on the pulse, and it looks like one of the biggest changes is the new development, new project being the residential one, which every other community's, pretty driven to get that sort of sorted too. So I fully support it.
Okay, Tim, if we've got no further discussion, should we put it to the vote? All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. And then the last one, number 4, is just an operational CEO. So move Councillor Fencing, Councillor McCrosty. Any discussion? Pretty straightforward, I think. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Good report. Right. Audit proposal letter. Sharon, welcome.
Your worship.
A lot of words.
Yes, a lot of words, some of which you've seen before. So this paper is just to put in front of you. We've received the proposal letter from audit with the fee in it to conduct the 23-24 annual report audit, which kicks off now. And there's also a letter there about a debenture trust audit, which we have to have done as well as part of that. And these just need to be signed off by, actually I've got Brian and Steve there, but I believe, Brian, you can just sign that by yourself. I've also attached the engagement letter that we signed this time last year that appointed Deloitte for 3 years, but they only gave us the fee for 1 year because there was a lot of negotiation going on. And I just also want to note that even though it says that Heidi will be our auditor for the 3 years, she's only got this last one and then we get someone new. Sorry.
So would it be all right if we had Heidi for 1 year, if we specify that? Because if we adopt the report, all right, it's not a recommendation, but it was quite clear. Heidi said, this is me done. And also, there is a scrutiny from a secular society on the auditing. We're right up 100% clear cut with it, but to have it said that Heidi's here for the next 3 years, just to eliminate any confusion, before we vote on it, we know it's Heidi. She's never gonna come back here again, is she? That was her done.
This will be the June 24 annual report will be her last time. So the engagement letter is already signed with Deloitte for 3 years.
Yep.
But the proposal letter actually specifies that this is Heidi's last time. And so recommendation number 2 could be changed to just say for the 24 year, because we will get a new letter next year with the new auditor. We've already done last year.
Yeah, I just to be pedantic and with the scrutiny that's there. And also I think it's quite important that we know what the rule is, that we don't appoint Deloitte. Deloitte is appointed for us. And part of that process is that the actual individual that does it, so that, to avoid long-term issues that probably never, but could arise, they give them a time frame. So the confusion that has been out in the public of, I thought 5 years on that, it's Heidi the individual. Who does set it for us? Who told us? The Auditor General. It's out of our hands.
They said, they set Deloitte, and then when Deloitte do their rotation, they have to go through quite a rigorous process, and the Auditor General has to accept their proposal as well, so it's not even their decision.
So I'll be quite keen to just see 24, and that keeps it squeaky clean, and we can tie up the rest in the way forward. And hold on, we're going to have discussion. Questions for Sharon first. Councillor.
So my question, Sharon, is around page 71 about this council's debenture trust deed. And to be honest, I've sat here a little while, but I've never sort of heard that using that term. And in the first paragraph, it talks about a trust deed between the Cleveland District Council, the Trustees Executors Limited, and it refers to the trust deed continually through the letter and clauses in the trust. I've never seen the trust, so I'm actually not sure what it's alluding to, what I'm agreeing to, what it refers to the trust deed continuously. What does it actually mean?
Trustees executors is every time we deal with LGFA and borrow money, we have to go through trustees executives. It's another form of check on us and that we're filling in the correct forms and stuff. And we have an agreement with them. There would have been a trust deed a very long time ago, I would imagine.
December 2018.
Yeah, it would have been when you went to guaranteed borrowing, I would imagine. From
If we get a copy of the trust deed given to us, presented to us, or
I'm unsure. I will find that out though.
I have a rule. I think I signed one, John. When you said
I'm just a little bit uncomfortable. It's referring to it. I'm perfect. I'm sure it's perfectly fine, but it's referring to a trust deed that us as governors, the district council, have with these people, and I've never seen it. And it refers to it continuously throughout that letter, and it refers to clauses in the trust deed. And I don't know what it's referring to because I haven't read it. I haven't seen it. I don't know what the purpose. Well, Sharon's explained the purpose of the trust deed, but I don't know. The trust deed to me generally owns assets or has something or has a particular role or function, and I don't know what this is.
Yeah, no, fair question. I took it that I'm pretty sure that I've seen it when I've signed it, but I couldn't put $1 million on. Probably did put $1 million on. Yeah,
There's about 118 million bucks on it.
Yeah, true. So further questions for Sharon before we head into discussion? Thank you, Sharon. If you can hold and hover until we have the discussions, just in case they're discussions, team.
You want to see?
So I just want to verify that Councillor Herbert's question sort of been answered. We sort of left a bit in the air here.
So I get, when we went to LGFA, we would have had the trustee set up then, and then we went to guarantor. So they have to put another layer of scrutiny in, and that's the trustees executive or whatever they're called, just another set of eyes looking over what we're doing to make sure everything's kosher.
So can we have a copy of the trust deed?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not that I want more to read, but it just alludes to it, so I'd rather.
Hopefully it's not too long.
Thank you.
I have a funny feeling it's a block. I do, but that's all right. Yeah. But that's all right. A fair question. And so Sharon, you're able to jack that up? Yep. Yeah, no, it's a fair call. So that aside, any further questions for Sharon? Because Sharon will get us a copy of would that be online?
It will be on file somewhere.
Yeah. Just, are we going to get it today or? No.
Yes, no. I will do my best.
Right. Best to get it today. Okay, further questions, please. If not, thank you, Sharon. Back to discussion. What's everyone's thoughts? Yeah, pretty much that's it. So Councillor Volwell.
I'm happy to move the motions or the recommendations there. One, that we receive the report, and two, that council confirms for the 2000. Well, do we need 2023 there? It's for the 2024 financial year anyway.
Just the 2024 was what Sharon suggested we vote on.
And with the mayor and chief executive.
So be clear that Councillor Volwell we're taking out the 23 and the 25. We're voting only for the 24. So he's moved. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Phelps has seconded. Discussion.
Just as I recall, the trust deed was mentioned last year, and it was say they don't audit it as such, but they did scrutinise it last year as well. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened the previous year.
Every year.
Okay, so as it turns out, that brings the discussion to a close. I'll put it to a vote. Oh, yeah, I will because it was quick.
No, you just, it's a 23-24 financial year though, isn't it? You're saying get rid of 23, it's actually 23-24 financial year.
When they said 2023, 24 and
slash
25, they were meaning the 3 years. We're only doing the 1 year, so I'm going to still hold on the 24 bit, which will be 23, 24.
Just say year end.
Yeah, year ending 24. We'll get there. Okay, team, let's gather back in. So we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Way over to page 95, and we'll click through a few procedural ones. So we've just got the minutes from the 20th of June. As a true and correct record, I'm happy to call them correct. Seconder, please. Seconder, Councillor Wheeler.
Sorry, on page 98. Very simple one. Number one, the Torremouth Community Plan. The resolution there should read that, second part should read, just get the rid of the or as amended.
No. So everyone seeing that there halfway down page 98? The words "or" are amended in the third line of the recommendation. So it's not amended, it's done. With that in line, and did you second it? Sorry.
Yes.
So move me, seconded Councillor Wheeler. Any further discussion? All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against, thank you. Infrastructure Strategy and Operations Committee on the 18th of July. Someone happy? Councillor Graham's happy to move that as a true and correct record. Someone to second, please. Councillor Herbert. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against. Same again for the Regulatory and Community Committee. Councillor Finch, seconded by Councillor Phelps. All those in favour?
Aye.
Yeah, thank you. Going for 3 in a row. Corporate and Policy.
So moved.
Councillor Payne, seconded Councillor Ludeman. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. Committee as a whole on the 18th.
Happy to move.
Moved and Councillor Ludeman will second it. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? The noting of the risk and assurance minutes. Can I just ask while we're here, can anyone give us an update on where we are with the chair?
Sharon said the last time.
That's all right, I'll ask it smoker time. I didn't realise she'd gone.
Happy to move.
Moved Councillor Finch, seconded Councillor Graham. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. And West Otago noting of the community board meeting. Moved Councillor Herbert, seconded Councillor Kennedy. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Same for Lawrence. Jock, are you moving Lawrence?
There, Jock.
Happy to move.
I was there, so hold on, I'm noting it.
Doesn't matter.
So, yeah, Councillor Herbert, seconded Councillor Kennedy. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against, thank you. And onto my mayoral report. So it's been a bit of a pressure cooker. I suppose like everyone else, there's been so much reading and so many ancillary issues going on. But I really want to thank the council for giving me the opportunity to go to Wellington on the 24th of June. I think this lobbying, and you never know, sort of like you push it out there. We're starting to get encouraging signs back, but you go there for a reason. And then I saw Sam Broughton, which clicked me onto another reason. You will have seen Warren, many of us will have seen Warren. It was silly down the other day. That was generated by Alan Pragnall. So you go for one reason and you just realise that, hey, we've been out of the loop for too long and we're going to push out, because certainly we're getting feedback that there was a reaction and there is still a reaction bubbling away in Wellington. So thank you everyone for that. Community Service Awards, as always, isn't it great to celebrate our community champions? So it was great to do that on the 11th of July. 660, saying I'm a boomer, I missed on the first day sales today, and I'm in the short circuit of the system to try and get some for tomorrow. But, so anyone knows, Councillor Payne and I are with the Youth Council doing a barbecue. And Councillor Finch, you're probably doing it, you don't know it yet. A barbecue, and you're more than welcome to come and help us, sausage sizzle and what else we're going to do. And we'll get a hand from a few musicians, possibly, if that's what you're into. So,
That's on Friday. It's Balclutha Bridge Park fundraiser, so it's a disco for the first.
no, not the disco. Totally different. This is 660.
Oh, for
in between the concerts, we're doing the thing.
Right.
And then 25th of July, thanks once again, went to Christchurch for the Ngaitahu meeting, which now should be Ngaitahu/Selwyn. They're just one and the same. And it is probably last chance hotel for a non-contiguous collaboration of South Island councils to try and string together. We've only got one of the three there. Once again, it's shown me the importance of you sit in the room and oh boy, were things sparking around that room, and you start, oh yeah, you get, and that's in a very few short weeks, we're going to make some decisions on this council that will decide quite literally possibly the existence of this council in the foreseeable future. If you're not in a room to pick up the vibe to, and you see the full picture, I don't know how the hell you're going to vote, quite frankly. So Selwyn's coming out with the first of their come and let's talk. Have you been keeping up with it? I think I've got all the paperwork out to you on it. It's a labyrinth of issues. Interestingly, media here.
No.
Right, so but this is Christchurch said they were willing to talk to anyone. West Coast have a letter to say no, that wasn't the case. Waimakariri, by the looks of things, is going with Hiranui and Kaikoura, which takes away one of the big three. Christchurch is the other. That leaves Selwyn as the only other population cluster. There's mumbles of Timaru, Ashburton, Timaru, Mackenzie, maybe Waitaki, and maybe one other having a discussion. So as different groups grab to their city deals, we get weaker by the moment. And whether we want to or not, there's a move afoot. We can't obviously stay where we are at the moment. So please, Selwyn said next month or so, now that they've got the general, we'll come and have a talk. When the message comes, if you can, please poke it in your diaries. It could be a very important day. And as I say, how the heck it's impossible for you guys, ladies, to make a decision if you haven't sniffed which way the wind's moving. Councillor Catterall, we'll do the rounds.
I just want to make a comment to that though, Your Worship. So it doesn't sound like we have much to vote on.
There'll be a heck of a lot to vote on. You know, like I know for the trip to Wellington, as it's evolved, because there's been comment out there as to why would me and one other person go to Wellington. It's over 5 million on that one. But on this one, well, for us, there's 600 million on it. What the hell are we doing sitting here? You know, as councillors, there may be no more important meeting than to go and work out which way it goes, because things are going to be moving fast and flying quickly. So,
How many votes will we get on it, Brian?
I just think it's a vote in or out. It's a coalition of the willing. So we're going to make a choice. Are we in, are we out? And what the heck are we in or out of? And I'm going to call it no.
Yeah, so, thanks, Your Worship. Look, some of the information you sent out too, it's a little bit ambiguous, isn't it? Because it's based on annual plans rather than 10-year plans.
Yeah. So you're going to sift
none of
through
it looks
it?
any good, but it's based on an annual plan, so you don't get to have that big vision of what's going on further down the track.
And you know, that in itself, Kenny, was a political, a lot of us pleaded, please let's all go out with the LTPs. Wellington, New Zealand needs to know. And even, what does that LTP mean? Don't know. It's what's an annual plan mean? What does that? It's, you gotta weed through it, and that's why being in a room and talking to different ones, and it gives you also the chance to befriend someone that you can get on the blower when push comes to shove. Because how many of us have a close relationship with Selwyn councillor or Westland councillor? It's pretty fragile. But anyway, we'll do the questions at the end, team. We'll do the round.
For myself, just council, CE review, Greenfield Board, meeting we had with the farmers here, a couple of those, and again, council.
Cheers, Dave. Sweet. Councillor Volwell.
Thanks, Your Worship. Normal council meetings, LTP, etc. I wasn't there for the chief executive review, I was away at the time. And other than that, I went to the Greenfield Water Scheme meeting here on last Monday week, and then on Wednesday met with a staff member and the chairperson of the North Bruce Rural Water Scheme on-site meeting at the water reservoir, and then on Tuesday just been at the North Bruce Rural Water Scheme committee meeting as well.
John was just leaving, he's on the road, so obviously.
Just as I was about to go to him, so he's gone. Can we please have it noted that Councillor Martin left at 3:37? So we can't go to Councillor Martin, so thank you, Bruce. Councillor Ludlam.
A couple of rec centre meetings, CE review, community service awards, which was a really good night. Thanks to staff for their input for that. Greenfield Water Scheme meeting and a youth development meeting.
Cheers, Ellie. Councillor Mackey.
I went to most of the council meetings except for the CE review, and I was at the Greenfield Water one and community board meeting, and yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, Brent. Councillor Herbert.
Thank you, Worship. Matariki at Parkhill Domain, then we had Westover Community Board. On the same day, on the 4th of the 7th, we had Water Scheme, Greenfields and the CE's review. Community Service Awards, then the Kelso Settlement Bridge meeting. Then I had a good catch up with Ian Evans about a couple of issues around Tapanui that sort of arose out of the soapbox a while ago. Another visit to Kelso Settlement Bridge and then Greenfield meeting in the afternoon. And just on Saturday, we had a West Otago Community Board working bee where we pulled out all the old plants in the main street of Tapanui, much to everyone's delight. Some disgust.
Thank you, John. Stirring them up. Thank you. Sorry, not Councillor Gray.
Just the usual council meetings, and that I did miss the CE review because of the dreaded COVID, but I was back for the community service and the Greenfield scheme, and I did play indoor bowls for the Milton Country Club.
Good on you.
Well, thank you, Bruce. Councillor Payne.
Thank you, Your Worship. In no particular order, standing committees, council meetings, LTP, met with Mike Goldsmith this morning, had an aged concern executive meeting in Dunedin. I'm getting very old. Community Service Awards, met with Mark Patterson and his worship at Telford. We're going through that funny space again. Greenfield Water Scheme Youth Council workshop and meetings, Matariki, and had a couple of meetings with Topoma as well. So that's my lot.
Thank you, Ken. Councillor McCroskey.
We're holding looking forward. Unfortunately, I missed the CE review, the awards night, which was an awesome night. Greenfield board meeting, standing committee. I actually did a visit to the Millennium Track and the Ferry Bridge toilet site with Wahola looking forward, and had quite a phone conference, etc., with Chairman in North Bruce and a couple of heads of department.
Cheers, Dean. Councillor Finch.
Thank you. Otago Museum Trust Board on the 27th of June, 1st of July Youth Council, the CE review on the 4th and the Greenfield, and then again on Monday the CE through Teams, the 9th Clutha Foundation Trust, and that night Milton Area Promotions AGM and a general meeting, the 10th full meeting, and the committees on the 18th. Went up and met at the dog park on the 5th about the Milton Dog Park, getting that sort of sorted, and meeting on the 26th. And this Friday is the disco and social for the youth of the district, and that is the fundraiser for the Balclutha Bridge Park fundraiser. And I got my 660 tickets.
Didn't get us any. Think you're going there, Councillor McAtamney?
Yep, the CE review, the Community Services Awards, a couple of Greenfield Board Scheme meetings, and lots of informal water scheme discussions. Yeah, constant. Yeah.
Thank you, Simon. Councillor Fells?
Thank you, Bishop. Not much from me, really. Just the meeting, the Community Service Award evening went really well. I'm sure I got the longest presentation, but also been to a couple of the Greenfield Water Scheme meetings and usual council meetings.
Thank you, Wayne. Councillor Kennedy?
Yeah, no such order, but creative communities. It's always hard to get rid of money.
Me too.
You too.
Through my committee.
Yeah, community board meeting, and Matariki was pretty awesome day, and the weather turned itself on nicely at Parkville. CEO's review and long-term plan, all the other meetings, and sorry I wasn't here last week.
Cheers, Michelle. Councillor Barron?
I've been out of action for the last 4 weeks, so no meetings, but I did get 3 phone calls from farmers over the Greenfields water scheme, which I was unable to participate or give any instructions, but there must have been some controversy or talk. Is it still ongoing? I don't know what's happening there. They wanted to know where I stood on it, and I was saying, what the hell?
So we'll wait.
Yeah.
So thank you, and
No, that's all.
all the best to you too, Kevin. So questions to questions. I've got a couple. Firstly, ex-Councillor McPherson. Is there any? Nothing.
There's to be a thing that's coming out in
Today's
paper. Is it today's paper?
That's from Barbara Hannah. So in keeping with Peter's wishes, there was no public funeral. Peter never went to, Peter didn't go to funerals, and that was his belief, so that's fine. There was an opportunity at the RSA 2 or 3 weeks ago. Horace McCauley organised it, so I went along and I spoke on behalf of the council and Peter, just in his involvement, how much he's done. And so I just spoke on behalf of various other people, spoke on behalf of Peter's other involvements around the town. And I think it's going to be a classic one of those ones where you don't actually realise how much that man did until he's gone, because people didn't realise that he mowed that whole Black Gully up until the last, right up till now. And it's about a 3-hour job every week at his own expense for about the last 30 odd years. So it's going to be one of those jobs where everyone's going to go, oh, who did that? Who did that? Guess who did that? He didn't want any recognition. A big loss in our community, but that was in keeping with his wishes. There's no public funeral.
I actually thought there was a possibility of something at the community hall. So consequently, if there's not the opportunity to do this, we should take the opportunity now to acknowledge the passing of Councillor McPherson. He was to me always sort of like the stalwart rule book, the one that will pull you into line for your dress code, or Pete wasn't backwards and coming forward to tell you what you needed to do. He was staunchly West Otago. He was a stickler for the rules, the old rules, and never left in doubt with Peter. He's a good straight shooter, so he'll be sadly lost, and a sad loss to West Otago and to his family and to his loved ones. And I want to acknowledge the work that he gave to. He would have been on council. Was here before I got here, so he would have done
95. He was community board from 89 to 95. He was council from 95 to 2013.
Good effort. Yeah. He also chaired Zone for, I would have said, 6 years. And yeah, the wider local government family as well would be missing Pete's contribution. So, it's, I thought there was a meeting, so at the next meeting, we're gonna have a moment of silence for Peter.
I just
It's
said,
not appropriate to
when I
do.
spoke at the RSA, I suppose my kind of take-home message to them was, and having spent a lot of time with Peter and these sorts of things, he wasn't optimistic or pessimistic. Peter was always realistic. It was, and when he folded his arms and sort of looked up at you, you actually listened, and it was, he was a great guy. So
I tell you what we could do, because it is round the wrong way. People be a stickler for the rules, but I think we should all stand and have a moment of silence, because I thought there was another item agenda. Thank you for that.
I was lucky enough to run into him at West Otago AMP show when I was selling the car raffle tickets, and I was sitting there saying all about it. He was in a lineup of all the old machinery ones, and then he stood up. I was like, "Why didn't you say hello?" He said, "I was just waiting." But he gave me a big bear hug, so we had a chat. It's great.
Councillor Graham.
Just, I noticed in the paper yesterday, you had made comments about council buying farms or something, and there was high-level discussions. Were we ever going to hear about that, or?
In the ODT.
No, so the comment was the regional council's plan the Te Mano to Wai, do we have to buy farmland, land to discharge sewage or not? And remember, we got that initial indication was that Belclutha was 15 acres or 8. So there was an indication, and the little the report gave me was whether we discharge to land and have to buy a farm, or whether we discharge to water and we have to do the highest standard. There was no real cost. It was going to be expensive whichever way. So there's never talk specifically of buying land, but it's very hard to discharge to land that you don't own.
The ODT said a Southern council has investigated buying farms and concerns the target councils could be required to discharge treated wastewater.
I presume that was other councils, it wasn't us. I know they went on to
it was you. It was your name connected to it.
Underneath it said Council, Mayor Cadogan said that, but can anyone here remember the discussion? I think George, you did the report. It was 8 hectares for Clutha and.
it was like between 8 and 20 for Tapanui from my memory.
So
Depended on the soil type.
So there was land that had to be bought, and that was the discussions. But what the comments were, to be in context, the regional council were getting a hurry up for you forcing us into a discharge to water. That'll be a discharge to land. That'll be so much more expensive. And my comment was, we've looked at the land, we've looked at the water, and bigger all difference. That was what the report basically said, wasn't it?
There's still a lot to go through to determine exactly what land we need and whether that's more cost effective than treatment, engagement with iwi. There's all sorts of things.
Yeah,
you're broke for that.
Yeah,
regional plans on hold at the moment as well.
it's a mess. One more question from me, please, Gain. Otago Museum, where are they at? I saw in the OTT staff layoffs, a picture from a council perspective.
So we did have to do a review, and there was 7 positions that were let go. And so, a bit like council here, the middle management tier has been changed to be able to do some cost savings. But we haven't had a recent meeting since then to see how, but we're still really trying with central government to see if we can get things changed. It's really not good, like everywhere else, and we are working with other big museums as well, but they'd sort of been busy, so we had quite a bit of contact with government ones to have talks for Matariki, there was another chance up there up in Wanaka that Ian was invited to, but there'd been chances before that as well of ones that had come to the museum, and so there was discussions had then. So it's ongoing fighting, really trying to be able to get funding from central government.
Any questions further? Got a recommendation back on 145, 44. I'm happy to move that we just accept or receive the attendance. Second, Councillor Payne. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? And I'm not sure where I go. Jules, is it you that will do the CEO's report?
Yeah, happy to take the report as read. Through your worship, the only comment I would make is I don't know, Di might be able to comment, but we do seem to be having lots of public information requests coming in lately, so it's taken up quite a bit of time. And our current policy is unless it takes more than half a day, we don't charge anyone for that. So it's taken up a fair bit of time to get all that information together and report it back to people in the past.
Councillor Herbert.
Yeah, so I was going to bring that up. I certainly don't want to put staff to any more work, but look, it seems some of this is just sort of repetitive and tireless almost. And I think I'd like to know how much time it's actually taking, and then we can actually make a decision, as the Deputy C's alluded to, whether we actually start charging people for this. Yeah, well, all of those questions would be answered if you read the LTP document.
Through your worship, we do have a policy where we charge, and I have had examples where the workload's been significant enough that I've sent through in a response, and at this point, no one's come back and agreed to pay the money. But yeah, a policy at this point is to, in terms of transparency, is to if we think it would take more than half a day, we can go follow up with it, estimate time and how much it would cost.
So is it possible going forward from now to just keep a rough track of, I don't want to put you in any more work, to keep a rough track of actually what it costs to satisfy some of these people? Yep. I think that would be interesting from our point of view, because it's time to make a decision on this.
Yeah. So, Councillor Catherwood, Volwella South.
Oh, it's the same discussion pretty much. That's what I heard at the end of the public, but I mean, all the information we're after is just in the recent meetings. It's all that information is in the LTP documents. So I hope we aren't spending much time on it, because the information's right there.
Yeah.
It's all those topics are all being discussed very recently, and there's reports in all our meetings. So I hope that we're not spending days, because it's just there. It should be pretty simple.
Through your worship, just to clarify, we have 20 working days to respond. So until our LTP is public and on our website, if that 20 working days, that's before that, we are required to reply. So.
But just to confirm, that could be referring them to a council agenda item or a council YouTube recording of a meeting and saying, here is the information.
Yeah, you just direction it. Yeah. And the only other question I had was I just noticed, Jules, vehicles on beaches. Final discussion. Can you elaborate any more on that?
I was just having a discussion about bringing something back to council to give you an opportunity to say this is what we want to do on this. So we're just working on a council paper to come back. So it was an internal staff discussion. Yep, to come back and you say this is what we want to do. This is the level of review we want to do. Then that'll set our work program going forward. Thank you.
So there's a flurry of hands. So I've got Councillor Volwella, myself, Councillor Payne, Councillor Barron. Right hand's gone down, so we'll roll with that.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I was just going to pick up on that day's official information request as well. And I think there's 14 of them there, so if I had to spend half a day on each one of those, there's a week and a half of staff time. I just wondered, perhaps, again, I don't want to add to staff members' time at all, but whether perhaps the amount of time spent on each request, presuming that would be noted anyway, that the amount of time you spend researching on a request would be
it's not recorded per se, but I am aware like how long it takes me to get these answers. You've got to realise too, if the answers are hard to get because of our record keeping or whatever, that can't be something we put on the requester. But at the end of the day, we can only provide what we can find.
But it's, I wonder if half a day spent on each one is too much, like for free. It should be only be 2 hours. I don't know whether there's anything in the Official Information Act that says when you can start charging, but I think it's something that we have to be aware of and our communities have to be aware of, particularly when some of them are just perhaps even vexatious, really.
So my point goes on from that, Diane. It's been brought to my attention that there's some frequent flyers, shall we say. So the cumulative effect, while each one might be half a day, is there a point where you can say that there is a degree of frivolous, vexatious, constant banter, and consequently we don't go back, this is your 5th question this month. Cumulatively, we've spent well over half a day on it, therefore we have to.
I think we would probably need to get some legal advice on that because the rules around livable employments is quite specific. So that would be my response.
Then could I please request that we do get the rules so that we specifically know, because obviously this is a situation that they are creating for an agenda to their own means. Also, and I think we all got an email last night, it's chit chat. I heard someone said something to someone about something and then something else happened over here. Is there a degree of validity to their claim before you have to do it, or is any claim, no matter how much chit chat it's based on, that you still have to do a legal? Can you just go, the accusation was made, I heard from someone that someone got a Christmas bonus and someone's driving a car. Unless you're going to specify who it is and what it is, we're looking for needles in a haystack. We're off on a wild goose chase. Can you say, sorry, not?
Oh, totally. It's you can only provide the information that you hold, and if they don't give you a sufficient question, it's difficult to answer.
And there are grounds to withhold answers under privacy and things like that too, aren't there, Doc?
Yes.
Yeah, I was disappointed at the, as I say, it bordered on chit chat in my opinion.
8:53 at night.
Yes. So where were we? I had a line of Councillor Payne, and then was it Councillor Barron? Right? Yes, Councillor
Thank you,
Payne.
Your Worship. So it seems to me, I think I'm hearing this right, we will have a policy on OIAs, which currently states that we do or can charge by hour. And we're being so lenient and nice that we're not doing it at the moment. Is that right? Or we are charging for every hour that you... It's about cost recovery for me.
Through you, Worship, I've taken that stance from the Chief Executive.
Yeah, we've got some obligations to provide public information. And our current policy says if it's going to take more than half a day, we do an estimate of the time it will take, and then we go back to the person who asked and said, this is what we estimate it will take, it will cost you this much to get this. And so we only charge one if we think it's going to take more than half a day of staff time.
So we need to go back to that policy and change it.
Because it's already taken time to estimate the time.
So what would it take to go back and readdress that policy, because times are changing?
Well, through you, we probably need to have a look at what we are required to do under the Employment Act.
And so that's
That'll have some
we should
rules
be going
around.
back with, I think.
So can we do that?
Doing that policy. It gives very clear guidelines for staff. That's where we need to go.
The worlds are changing, we're going to move with the times.
Yeah.
Councillor Barron, followed by, I think, Graham. Yeah.
Thank you. Jules, just regarding the Milton poll, I am asking whether councils talk to other councils about polls that they've built and get information. I've just had the opportunity to look through the Hornby Poll, Library, Cafe and Service Centre in Christchurch while I was up there, and brand new building. I just wanted, I'd love to know how much this cost and blah, 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 and compare? Do you do that?
Through your worship, not other than the Mosgiel pool complex. We haven't gone around the country and looked at a whole bunch of other ones. What we did get, however, was some independent advice from someone who works with councils to build pool facilities. So they had built quite a number of facilities with other councils and got some advice from them about how things can work together as well. So not specifically looking at other facilities other than Mosgiel, but certainly trying to cover off that, are we doing the right thing there? But certainly if you've got some examples, I suppose the difficulty we're at now is we've come to a pool design that the community's spent 2.5 years agreeing on what they're going to do, and now we're just about to go into another consultation process that came out of the long-term plan.
Yeah, I suppose my question was, this is a library in a pond, how much does it cost? Is it 30 million, is it 15 million? Just a comparison would be good. If you could ring the Christchurch City Council and say, can you give me this figure? I don't know. We can
certainly ask the question.
So for disclosure, I think I went with the mayor at the time, because I was up there with Mayor Dalziel and Broughton, and we went there when it was being built or open. So I have gone through with them, and like, I'm pulling the figure out, but it wasn't expensive. It was a biggie. I think it was. No, I'm only guessing, but it was like, well, this is it's a stunning facility.
37 million.
37 million. Yeah, she was a biggie. Yeah.
Okay, we'll take two.
Councillor Grant.
It just, on back to that, the policy is the policies, do we have one exclusive to us, or are they all going to be standard?
Through your worship, we have a policy, but what we're not sure, and we've said we have to go and investigate, is whether the limit comes out of the legislation. Because potentially that's the bit we've got to check. What capacity, what freedom do we have to set that first bit for free versus what's a minimum requirement in the legislation? So we need to go away and do a bit of work on that and come back to you with that information.
Yeah, so can we possibly have some time at a workshop or something that we can discuss the whole policy and how we apply charges and that as ratepayers get so much as opposed to someone from out of the district and that sort of thing.
So I think this discussion will have triggered a report, and it's that report that will have an agenda item to it. Yeah, that's how we say it. Excellent. Any further questions, Tate? If not, we've got one for the CEO. Thank you for filling in there, Jules. Just that we received the report, I'll move that. Seconded by Councillor Finch. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Documents for consent and seal. Moved by Councillor Kennedy, seconded by Councillor Herbert. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? It's open to you guys. Do you want smoko now and we come back for public exclude, or we just knock it over? Carry on. Right. Okay, so you'll see reasons to move into public exclude on page 152.
Haven't moved.
Oh, hold on. Do I have to turn the live off before I do this? Or
No,
no, we're right. Sorry. So move Councillor Wheeler, seconded by someone Councillor Kennedy. All those in favour?